Hello, Jen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Kirsten. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think it's been a minute, Kirsten. Hope you're doing well. If this is the same Kirsten who's tuned in the past, hope you're doing well in West Virginia. Kirsten, hope you're doing well wherever you're tuning in from. Excellent, excellent. So we're going to be talking for a moment. The majority of this collective live is going to be an energy read unless divine takes it in another direction. All right. It is morning time here on the 22nd. Okay. And yeah, you've just gone through the first Mercury retrograde. Hello, Anomaly. Good to see you, Sunshine. Okay. We've just gone through the first Mercury retrograde of 2026, 10. Okay, the year of 10, the year of the horse. You could have been born in the year of the horse, the Chinese year of the horse. Okay. Um, and yeah, okay. We've just gone through or come into, we've just come into the new astro year, okay, new astrological year on 321, okay. Some of you are still in 321, but that is the start of the new astral year. That represents an equinox as well. Equinox, okay? From one season into the next for the northern and some southern hemispheres of this planet, of this portal. All planets are portals, just like the sun and the moon. All our planets are portals. Thank you so much for tuning in, Trinity. Okay. You are Trinity. You are Trinity. Okay, just that. The Trinity. You are Trinity. All right. Current time for synchronicity is 8:19 in the morning, Monday morning here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. 8:19. 8:19. Okay. Again, we're going to talk for a moment about discussing it before it happens. Discussing it before it happens. All right. Had a great collective live yesterday and talking about several things. 619 in Cali. Shout out to Cali. Okay. Somebody could be going back to Cali, to Cali, to Cali. Somebody could be going back to Cali. All right. So, yeah, great live yesterday. Talked about a lot of different things. Um, and yeah, yeah, very good energy in that live yesterday. Okay. I actually lost a day somewhere. I thought yesterday was Saturday. Okay. That could be part of the equinox and that sort of thing. I thought yesterday was Saturday. All right. And so, yeah. All right. And that is why we did not have the Aquarian Gospel of Yeshua on yesterday. Instead, we did that collective live. I thought yesterday was Saturday, or 321. I thought it was Saturday. But yeah, and I didn't realize that until It was midnight here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I didn't realize that until it was midnight here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So thank you so much, Divine Source, for all that you do. Eravat, Avarat, the great I am, Divine Source, divine Force, the grind. Someone's name could be the grind or something like that, or the grind. Okay, the grind. Okay, something about the grind. Okay, but thank you so much, Divine Force, Divine Source. Thank you so much for your guidance, your wisdom, your connection to me. Thank you so much, Ascended Masters. Thank you so much, Star Seeds of the Esoteric that are not here in the 3D. Yesterday we spoke about divine intervention. What's up, Decree? What's up, Decree? Okay. All right. And so some others could work a second shift type of job, okay, or occupation, a second shift, okay. Decree said they just clocked out from their earthly job. So, all right. We talked about divine intervention, what divine intervention is, okay. Some of the natural things that have happened, divine intervention, the flood, okay, parting of the Red Sea, divine intervention, okay. The ram appearing in the bush when Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac in obedience to divine source's command. So there could be something about divine intervention happening on your behalf at this time. All right, divine intervention. Some natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, divine intervention, divine intervention. Okay. Some of these interventions, okay, are done by order of Most High, by high vibrational non-human deities. Okay. All right. Yeshua's resurrection, divine intervention, divine intervention. Man expected their body to stay there, decay, right? But as it said, when they rolled the stone away, there was no body there, okay? And nobody there. There was nobody and nobody there. You get what I'm saying? So, all right? Divine intervention, divine intervention, all right? So, we're going to talk for a moment about, let me say this, okay, about the energy on the channel. Divine Source, I speak against any and all blockages of the frequency here as we are coming out of Mercury retrograde. I speak against any and all blockages of the content of this channel. Anyone who attempts to block, subdue, copy, okay, or doppelgang me. I am one of a kind. You are one of a kind. They can't be you. They wish they could. They can't be you. You are one of a kind. Divine Source, we speak against any and all energies that come to block, hinder, subdue, control the content on this channel and block the frequencies. Frequencies, blockages be removed. Frequency blockages be removed, okay, at this time, so that all who need to see, hear this message can tap in. All right. So let's talk for a moment about discussing it before it happens. One of the things that we spoke about yesterday was getting back out there, or in that live, again, it's still 3:21 for most of you, okay? Getting back out there. That doesn't mean getting on dating websites. That doesn't mean going to bars, okay? Because you're not going to meet your divine partner in a bar, okay? You're saying chances are that's not going to happen, okay? All right. But getting back out there. So, getting back out there, going to social events again. Before getting here to Vietnam, the last social event that I was in or a part of was a wedding in 2022. Okay, those were then friends that I was connected to, that I had known for 30 years, and one of their daughters had gotten married in 2022. Interestingly enough, that marriage did not last a year. Okay, a year. It did not last a year. 12 months. Same thing for you. You could have had a marriage that didn't last a year. All right, and for synchronicity. Okay. Hello, Lauren. Thank you so much for tuning in. For synchronicity, the bride in that wedding, her name is Alyssa. Okay. The groom in that wedding, his name is Jacob. Jacob, for synchronicity. Okay. But again, that wedding, that marriage did not last. That union did not last for 12 months. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about it before it happens, before we get into the energy. So, what do I mean when I say talk about it before it happens? So, as we get back out there, for those of you that this resonates with, okay, if you've only been celibate for 2 months, I can tell you for sure that's not long enough, okay? Your energy isn't cleansed enough. I can tell you for sure if you've been celibate for 6 months, that's not long enough. I can assure you you're not ready to get back out there, okay? I'm talking about mainly those who have been in hermit mode and celibate for years, okay? Years. Speaking of 2022, that's when my celibacy journey this time around started, okay? This is my third stint of celibacy. Hello, all right, all right, all right. Okay? So, yeah, my third stint of celibacy. All right. First was in 2007. That could be significant for you, or at least it started in 2007. Yours, okay, could have been or something about 2007. Uh, Next was 2012 or so, right before I started dialysis, okay, due to witchcraft. And so, yeah, all right. We are our greatest cheerleaders and our greatest critics, okay? Self is the greatest critic and greatest cheerleader, or at least you should be your greatest cheerleader. If you're not your greatest cheerleader, you're leaning on someone way too hard, okay? If you are not your biggest cheerleader, you're leaning on someone way too hard, okay? All right. What's up, Latoya? What's up, Latoya? We do have 2 new public notifications that I have for subscribers. So, Maria MT, welcome in, Maria. Thank you so much for subscribing to this collective. Okay. And God Wins. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do have oracles and other truth speakers that subscribe to the channel. So welcome in, truth speakers, okay? And truth seekers. Welcome in, truth speakers. Welcome in, truth seekers. Jen, I reminded you the other day, okay? Your ancestors want you to post on your channel. That could be about your journey. You could be a motivator. You could be an encourager, energy, Jen, okay? And there is a people out here, a chosen people, who needs to connect with you in that way, Jen. Okay? Forsake not the anointing. Forsake not the anointing. That's not just for Jen. That's for everyone. Okay? Forsake not the anointing. Yeah. Be your greatest cheerleader. Okay? So in being your greatest cheerleader and your greatest critic, most of us are pretty good about being our greatest critic. Okay? All right? Okay, Jen. Well, whatever you're led to post then, Jen. Okay? Whatever you're led to post. All right? Whatever it is that you're led to post. It could be your artwork, whatever it happens to be. It could be your music, whatever that happens to be, Jen. Okay? All right? So, and being your greatest critic. Hello, Angel. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. In being your greatest critic and your greatest cheerleader, one of the things that I have to remind myself of, and I've had to remind myself from time to time, 11:15, I don't do readings, but I do offer, and the information is in the description section. I offer what is called esoteric conversations, so we can schedule those conversations or that conversation. Okay? And if you send me an email, again, all of that information is currently in the description section of this live. You can schedule that and we can have that esoteric conversation. And in the process of that, we do take a look at the current energy at that moment. Okay? Hello, Kobe. Okay? Shout out to Kobe. Okay? Those of you who have tuned in for any length of time, you know how I feel. Okay? In my resonation with Kobe Jellybean Bryant. All right? Hello, Tamara. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Tamara. Hello, Tamara. What's up, Sean Sean? Okay. What's up, Sean Sean? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Divine Source, for opening up the airways. Thank you, Divine Source, for opening up the airways and the frequencies and removing whatever blockages were blocking others. Okay. So, in being your greatest cheerleader and your greatest critic, one of the things that I've had to remind myself of since 2017 and receiving the new blood filter, the new kidney that's located on the lower right front part of this physical body that I am in, is just that. Okay? So, working out and, and all that sort of thing, right? I have to remind myself that that little bulge in the lower right part of my body, this physical body, right, is not belly fat, okay? It's not a pot belly, right? I was watching an interview with Tachina Arnold. She said something very interesting that was a bit of a surprise to me. I'm going to share what that is. But in being your biggest critic and your biggest cheerleader, I have to remind myself that that little bulge, that's the third kidney in this physical body. They did not remove the native kidneys. They rarely do that today in America. The only reason why they would remove your native kidneys is because they are infected or cancerous or tumors or something along those lines. So I carry 3 blood filters in this physical body today. For all I know, all 3 of them might work again. Okay, I am a healer. Right? And so I have to remind myself that that little bulge in the lower right part of the body, all right, that's not fat. And I don't have a belly, or I have a belly, but you know what I'm saying. I don't have a pot belly, and I can see my feet. Okay? So, yeah, your biggest critic. Okay? But be your biggest cheerleader. Be your biggest cheerleader. Yeah, be your greatest cheerleader. Right? Don't expect anyone else to cheer yourself on if you don't cheer yourself on. Don't expect anyone to cheer you on if you don't cheer yourself on. Okay? That is something that Kobe Bryant spoke to a lot. Okay? You motivate yourself. You get yourself up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym and do the shoot around. You get yourself up. Okay? Don't expect anyone to wake you up. Okay? Don't expect anyone to wake you up. All right? You get up. All right? So, what do I mean? Okay? What do I mean when I speak to discussing it before it happens? So, those of you who are coming out of hermit mode are mainly the ones that I'm speaking to when I'm talking about this. So, talking about it before it happens, this is what that means. Having all of the discussions that you need to, and there's no way to have every single discussion or discuss every situation that comes up in a relationship. There's no way to do that. But there are certain things, confirmation, there are certain things that should be discussed before you get to that moment in time. Okay? So the way that you spend your money, how do you manage your finances? That needs to be discussed before you get into a situation or heavily involved with someone. That needs to be discussed at the first or second, I don't know, coffee meetup, whatever, date, whatever that is. That needs to be discussed early. So, how do you manage your money? How do you do this? How do you do that? Right? How do you see money? How do you see wealth? How do you see those things? Okay? That money needs to be talked about before you run into a situation or get into a situation where you're now together and committed. They live with you, you live with them. Now you're sharing bills and you find out that they don't pay their bills and they're not financially responsible. They pay things late. You need to have this discussion ahead of time. Okay? Yep, and ask. Yeah, you need to have these discussions ahead of time. Okay? Yep, their health status. Yeah, their health status, right? Ask them, what have they gone through? What have they been through? Physical things that are concerns. Again, as you're asking these questions and having these conversations, you're paying attention to the aura. You're paying attention to not just the words, but the other things that they speak of or do not speak of. Okay? Not just what they say, but what they don't say. Okay? So if there isn't full disclosure, Divine is saying full disclosure. If you feel as though there's not full disclosure, again, ask them about that. If they ask you, why are you prying? There's an indication. Okay? Because the woman, the female, it'll be a lady. Okay? And there is a difference. But the lady that I come into divine union with, there is not one question that she can ask me that I would shy away from, or that I would not answer, or that I would refuse to answer. How am I going to be in a union with you and I'm refusing to ask questions or asking you, why are you prying? Like, what do I want the relationship? You know what I mean? Like, why would I not want to answer every single one of your questions? Why would I want to do that? Okay. All right. So another thing. All right. So money. Okay. Someone said health issues. Yep. Health issues. Okay. So the next thing, okay, is if you have children at home, children, or if you two get to the point to where you're talking about that, discuss it ahead of time. Ask them when you go on the first, second date, third date. Ask them, have the conversation. You don't have to throw all of this at them at one time. Okay. What are your thoughts on discipline? How do you go about disciplining? Okay. Do you put them in the corner? Do you take away electronic device? How do you punish what are your thoughts on discipline? How do you go about that? Okay? Ask them those questions. Okay? You could probably tell from looking at them how well they take care of their physical body, but also you want to ask them about any illnesses and things of that nature that they've had. So looking at this physical body that I'm in, okay? Looking at the physical body that I'm in, no one would ever be able to tell that I am a kidney transplant recipient, okay? And again, that was due to witchcraft. No one would ever be able to tell that I had shingles. That was due to witchcraft. No one would be able to know those things. No one will be able to know that I had seizures from the age of 4 to the age of 8 that I healed myself from. Okay, just like the kidney transplant manifested on 7/7/17. They wouldn't know that. So those are things that I would share with that particular individual. All right. So they could look at you and you might look healthy. Okay. They could ask you, do you smoke? Yeah, I smoke 420. Tell them. You know what I mean? Tell them, yep, I smoke 420. They have an issue with that? Okay, well, we can either continue on or we can no longer, because they may not want you to smoke, or they may not want to be involved with someone who smokes 420. So, again, however that resonates. Okay? All right? Yeah. Confirmation decree. All right? So, what's another thing? Okay? Intimacy. Okay? We grown. We can have grown folks conversations. We have 18 in the room and 14 likes. 18 in the room and 14 likes. It is currently 8:42 in the morning on Monday here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So, intimate things, okay? What do they like? What don't they like? Those sorts of things, okay? So yeah, all right. Yeah, you need to have those discussions, okay? For me, okay, however I give, I expect to receive, generally. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't have what I have physically, but I expect to get what I give. So you have a conversation with someone, and again, we grown, so we can have grown folks conversations. If you have children around you, okay? If you have children around you, oh, why was I thinking that? That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Okay? I don't know why I was thinking. I was thinking that I missed a day somewhere. There is something that's very strange that's happening here. I literally said at the beginning of this video, someone just said it's Saturday here. I pulled down the screen and it says, right, that it's Sunday. All right? So we will be having the Aquarian Gospel of Yeshua at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today on Sunday. I don't know how I was thinking I missed the day somewhere and I was saying Monday. Someone just said it's Saturday and I'm like, what? I don't, something happened. Something happened. Decree said miracles and energy alignment. Something happened over the last 48 hours. Seriously. Seriously, Sean. Something like that's unusual. That is unusual. That's kind of interesting. I don't know what was going on there, right? But yeah. So you could have thought you lost a day, lost something. You could have thought that whatever, but you didn't, right? Something like that. Okay, that's very interesting. So, so again, we grown, so we can have grown folks conversations. If you have children around you, you might want to put earbuds in, okay, or grab the headphones. All right. Hello, keeping up with Lady J. Okay. Yeah. All right. And so, okay, if you enjoy oral sex being done on you, but you don't give oral sex, you need to let them know that. We grown, we can have grown folks conversations. Okay? So, if you like to receive, but you don't like to give, you need to have that conversation with them, and you need to let them know that before confirmation. You're laying in the bed, bucket naked, okay? And they're expecting in return what they give. And you're like, I don't do that, okay? All right. That's weed, okay? The twin, okay? That's marijuana. All right. So, um, if you enjoy an alcoholic beverage, you need to have that conversation with them. Okay? You need to have that conversation with them. Okay? If all of your orifices are not available, if all of your orifices are not available, you need to let them know that. Okay? You need to let them know that. All right? People say, people say, okay, that they want a lady or a man in the street and a freak in the bed, but the word freak, you need to determine where the line is, okay, and where the freak begins and the freak ends. You know what I'm saying? You need to determine that. You need to talk about those things, okay? We're talking about having the discussion before it happens. Having the discussion before it happens for those of you who, okay? Yeah, Ashley, we grown. We can have grown folks conversations. Ashley, I hope the kids are not listening to this, all right? And I hope you're doing well, all right? So you need to have all of these discussions ahead of time. You don't want them coming home one day and you sitting outside and you puffing on a little something and they come in and they're like, what in the hell? What are you doing? Confirmation. What are you doing? You don't want that. You want to avoid these types of situations. Okay? Again, they don't like alcoholic beverages. You need to let them know that you do or that you don't, whichever it is, need to have these discussions ahead of time. Okay? So, your hopes, your goals, your dreams. Okay? Confirmation, Ashley. Okay? A Lashley. A Lashley. Okay? Alaska. All right? All right. So you need to have discussions. Where do you want to live ultimately if that is not where you currently are? Okay. So for instance, for me, my divine partner, I don't know, they could live in Minnesota, they could live in Seattle, they could live in the New York State, they could live in Illinois, they could live in the Dakotas, they could live in Germany, they could live in, okay, any place, right? I'm not going to live in those places. I'm just not. So we would need to have a discussion. So you live in New York. I'm not living in New York. So what are we going to do about that if we believe we are divinely guided to be together? You live in Seattle, Washington. I'm not living in Seattle, Washington. What are we going to do about that? You live in Russia. I'm not living in Russia. So what are we going to do about that? Okay? I am going to live in a place where the weather suits my clothes. Okay? I am a t-shirt, no shirt, flip-flop wearing kind of spirit. So those are the only places that I will set up home. Okay? Yeah. Okay? Definitely, Sean. Okay? Be transparent. Be transparent. Okay? All right. So, yeah. All right. Have these discussions before the situation occurs. Before the situation occurs. Okay? So, you can basically, for me, just FYI, okay, you can basically, for me, draw a line across the United States, starting in South Carolina, and draw a line straight across the United States of America. Anything north of that line, I'm not living there. Anything south of that line, I am open to. Okay? For the most part. Okay? Confirmation, Bert. Okay? Alabama doesn't draw me in. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said for the most part. Alabama, Mississippi, those places don't draw me in. They don't draw my energy in. But they have the weather. Okay? So I will only live where the weather suits my clothes. That doesn't mean I won't wear a suit. Okay? I like vests and ties. All right? But yeah, right? So I woke up this morning with two songs, okay? This Sunday morning here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, when I thought it was Monday, that's still kind of tripping me out. That's still kind of tripping me out. So, keeping up with Lady J was just getting ready to say Alabama, okay? So, Alabama, all right. Um, where was I going with that? Where was I going with that? Oh, two songs, okay? So I woke up this morning, this Sunday morning here at 3:22 with two songs, okay? Off the Wall, okay? Gotta leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. Ooh, let the magic and the music into you. Life ain't so bad at all. When you're living off the wall, life ain't so bad. Okay, so Michael, the name Michael and Jackson, Off the Wall. When you're living off the wall, life ain't so bad at all. What does that mean? Get up, dance. Someone sent me an email and said they've been dancing, okay, in their in their RV tent, whatever. And I was reminded of when I was going through the majority of my ascensions, okay, and the bulk of the dark night of the soul. I was renting an RV from someone in Tucson, Arizona, after giving everything that I owned away in Florida, closing businesses and relocating, okay, landing in Tucson, Arizona. And I remember that RV would be rocking because I'd be up in there and I would have some of everything on. I'd have country on today, then it'd be Red Hot Chili Peppers, then it would be gangster rap, then it would be love songs, then it would be R&B, then it would be rocking in there, right? Dance to release, dance to release, dance to release. Could be something about 1979 or 1980, you or someone you're connected to. Okay, so confirmation, Ashley. Okay, if you're drawn to Oregon, there you go. Make the plans. Okay, there you go. Make the plans. Okay, ask divine source for guidance, whatever that happens to be, resources, whatever that's needed, whatever is needed. Okay, and if that is for you, you will definitely receive those things. Okay, so yeah, something about 1979 or 1980. The second song, so life ain't so bad at all when you're living off the wall. So something about getting up, moving around, dancing to release, whatever that is for you. You need to move to release. Ashley's talking about relocating from Texas. Texas is actually high on my list of places in the United States. I will live in other places in the world. Obviously, I'm here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Okay, I love culture. I love different culture. Love different foods. Love traveling. Sagittarians are natural explorers. Sagittarian sun signs are natural explorers. Okay? It is. Mm-hmm. Yep, it is, Sean. All right? So, the other song, the stylistics, okay? There's a spark of magic in your eye. Candy land of tears each time you smile. Okay? Betcha by golly, wow. You're the one that I've been waiting for forever. Second song. And ever will my love for you keep growing strong. Okay? Stylistics, the Stylistics, one of the best falsetto male voices ever to be recorded. Okay? Stylistics. Betcha by golly, wow. Betcha by golly, wow. Wow. All right? Hello, Noel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay? All right? So, all right? And so, yeah, I think those are the only downloads that I have, all right, at this time. Let's go ahead and get into the energy. I've been sitting here shuffling these angel cards for a long time. Okay, so Plano, Texas, Kirby, Texas. Okay, Plano, Texas, Kirby, Texas. Okay, could be something about Kirby vacuums. Man, I remember before I went into the military, I quit both of my full-time jobs. One of the worst one of the worst jobs I ever had was for 2 weeks because I got bored. I had two full-time jobs at the age of 20. Okay, I've always been a hard worker, always been a hustler in that way, not in an illegal way, but I had no problem having 2 and 3 jobs at a time. All right. Before I went into the military, I had 2 jobs, one of which I started when I was 17 and kept until I was 20. And then the other I was at for maybe a year and a half or so before I went into the military. One was at a Little Caesars. I was an assistant manager. The other was at a movie theater. I was an assistant manager there as well. Had a car and a motorcycle. Life was pretty good for me in that natural sense. Okay, even though I was still living with the warlock. All right, and so I left both of those jobs, and but I had gotten bored. I left both of those jobs in like January of '95, but I wasn't due to report to basic training until 331. 331. Okay. And so I got bored. Okay. And I was like, man, I need to do something. I picked up this sales job selling Kirby vacuums. Let me tell you, that has got to be one of the worst jobs ever. Ever. You know, you're going to door in 1995, going door to door, trying to sell a vacuum that costs $1,500. No appointments. No appointments. Just showing up blindly at somebody's door at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hi, I would like to, can I clean your carpet? I think is the way it started. You would ask them, clean your carpet for free to get in the door. Man, okay. The only vacuum I ever sold was to the warlock, actually, believe it or not. And he didn't even pay for it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even pay for it. Okay. Meaning he never paid the $1,500 for it. He did whatever down payment or whatever it was that was set up. He never paid for it. He never paid for much of anything. He would get vehicles, wouldn't pay them off. You know, he was just like that. He was just like that. Okay? And so yeah. Okay? I don't know about building character. I don't know about that. Okay? There are some jobs that just beat the hell out of you. There are some jobs that just beat the hell out of you. Okay? You had a quota to meet every month. If you didn't meet the quota, it compounded. So if you went 2 months without selling a vacuum and your quota was $1,000, you didn't meet that quota. So even though you got this stipend, you would end up paying that $1,000 back. Some occupations, some jobs just beat the hell out of you. You know what I'm saying? That was one of those occupations. Kirby vacuums. Okay? Um, all right. What was the other place someone said they're from in Texas? Someone said they're in Texas. Ooh, magazines. That's another tough sell. Magazines. Magazine sales. Woo, that's tough. Someone said they're in Plano. Okay. Could be something about piano, Plano. Okay. All right. We have 2424. Good times. Good times. Another song. Okay. I think that's sung by Honey, the female music group Honey. Okay. Yeah. I went into the military. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm glad. Ooh, this is rough. This is rough, right? And yeah, all right. So, good times, good times. Talking about leisure, rest, holiday. Okay, again, leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. Okay, let the magic in the music get to you. Okay, life ain't so bad at all when you're living off the wall. Okay, shout out to the spirit being. Confirmation. Shout out to that spirit being Michael Jackson that lifetime. Shout out to the spirit being of Michael Jackson. I believe they um, ascended on when they were 50. Okay, at the age of 50, you could be 50 at this point in time. 50. That is the second jubilee. A jubilee is every 25 years. A jubilee, spiritual jubilee, is every 25 years. Okay? So, all right, I think that's it for angel numbers right now. We'll just keep this 2424 out here as it's resonating with us for good times. Again, those of you that are ready to get back out there energetically, that means your heart is open. That doesn't mean dating websites. That doesn't mean going into the bars to meet somebody. Okay? Social events, be open to getting back out there, going to social events as you're directed, as you feel good about the invite, etc. Okay? Divine Source, Eravat, thank you so much for the day. Thank you so much for Ra. Thank you so much for Hansu. That is the sun and the moon. Okay? We are going to get into a collective energy read here, confirmations here. Divine Source, what are the confirmations for those tuning in or those who tune in to this at some point in time or listen to this at some point down the road in their journey? Divine Source, what would you like to speak to them? What would you like to confirm? Again, that's all it is a confirmation. You already know you should leave them. You already know you should relocate. You already know you need to start the business. You already know you need to look for another job. You already know that the karmic is next to you. You already know that they're a lover. You already know that the karmic is your parent. You already know that it's a son or a daughter. You already know. Okay? Hello, Lily. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. All right? Lily could be someone's favorite flower. Lily. Okay? The lilies. The lily of the valley. Hello, Lily. Okay? I don't know that. Okay? This is a collective energy read. Currently, there are 18 people in here. Okay? So, you have to listen, Lily. Or you can schedule an esoteric conversation and we can take a look at your energy privately, one-on-one, and have a discussion. If you would like to do that, you can send me an email. That information is in the description section of this live video. While I'm mentioning that, any of the other services that I offer currently, Reiki healing, meditation, chakra blockage removals, that sort of thing, all of that information is in the information or description section of this video, okay? Along with the email address. All right? All of those services are offered via Zoom because there are karmic asses out there who would love nothing more than to hide behind the curtain, okay? And suck off my energy, okay? So, I do those things on live video. So, And I know there are those who have not scheduled because they don't want me to see their face, right? So good times, 2424. You could have been born on the 24th of the month, January through December, 2424. Could be something about a Sagittarian, 1212, December 12th. Okay? Someone could have been born on the 6th and the 4th, however that goes. Okay? 64. Okay? 46. You could be 46. Someone else could be 46. Or 24. Divine source, collective energy. What is the collective energy? It is 9:06 in the morning currently here in Ho Chi Minh now, Vietnam. 9:06, 9:06. Okay, 9:06. Ooh, we have the Seven of Swords landing on the floor in reverse. Okay, Seven of Swords landing on the floor in reverse. Witchcraft, trickery, doppelganging, smear campaigns. Okay, something's in the reverse here. Those are all types of Seven of Swords energies. Someone who gossips about you, Seven of Swords energy. Okay, do you see what she's wearing? Do you look at him? Just gossip. That's Seven of Swords energy. Okay, that's Seven of Swords energy. All right. So what else do we have, divine source? What else do we have? What else do we have here? Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, that just means something here is not being seen, and that's okay. All right, or yet to be known. Okay, there's always something else to know. There's always something else to learn. Even though I am a Master Builder 33, okay, even though I am a Master Builder 33, there's always things for me to learn. Esoteric travels, that's why I do them. Meditations, that's why I meditate for an hour plus a day, This is why I listen to frequencies. This is why I do what I do, because I'm on a journey of discovery as well. I am on a journey of discovery as well. So, Page of Cups energy, or excuse me, Page of Wands energy. So something about a truth here, okay? Still being written, your journey. What is this? Ooh, a screenplay. Okay, do we have any producers in here? Do we have any producers in here? Okay, we have a screenplay. Again, that could be poems. Okay, something writing, a poem. Okay, you could be writing a book as I am. The title of that book is Alone If I Must. Okay, all right. So, screenplay energy, poems, poetry, stories, book, children's books, okay, fiction, nonfiction. Oh yeah, Sean, please, yeah, cause yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely invest more, definitely. Okay. One way to help that, someone recently asked. They talked about in one of the lives about the difficulty in staying focused during their meditation. Okay. What I found that works best for me when I started out was to do my meditations in the morning before I get my day going. If you try to meditate at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it might be a little difficult. Why? Because you had to yell at the kids, you had to deal with the ex, you had to talk to this person, you had to deal with parents, you had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So now you have all of this energy to clear and all of these thoughts, emotions, whatever, okay, that have been coming on to you, attaching to you throughout the day. So I found it easier when I first started meditating to meditate in the morning when I first wake up physically. No. Of course not, Sean. Right? Of course not. Right? Again, I had what works for me too. I had to find out what works best for me too. Now, today, because I have no attachments, I have no anything, okay? All that has been done. So today, I can meditate at any point in time, stop whatever I'm doing, and go meditate, okay? But yeah, so that could be something. What else, Divine Source? Seven of Swords on the floor, the trickery. I call that the fuckery card. Okay. Okay. And again, it did come out in reverse. So no more. Okay. No more, no less, no nothing. No more, no less, no nothing. Confirmation horn honk and burp. Ooh. Booyah shaka. Booyah shaka. Booyah shaka. Okay? It's 9/11. Shout out to Taraji P. Henson. That's the date that she was born, 9/11. Shout out to Taraji P. Oh, I said I was going to mention something about Tachina Arnold when I was talking about discuss it, about having discussions ahead of time. Okay? What you like, what you don't like. Okay? If you like going to the gym, you like working out, you go for runs every day, discuss all of those things. Okay? Have these discussions. One of the things that she said that was a little surprising to me, she said she likes a man with a little girth. Okay? She likes a man with a little girth. Okay? So I looked up girth and I asked AI, Google, I asked, so does Terry Crews have girth, or The Rock, or does Cedric the Entertainer have? And I mentioned Cedric the Entertainer. All right, B, you could be one of those. You could be one of those where you like a little more girth, okay? And so the answer was Cedric the Entertainer has more girth than Terry Crews, than Dwayne Johnson, Terry Crews, than Diesel or whoever, right? Vin Diesel, meaning, okay? So she would like, she starred in a show with Cedric the Entertainer called The Neighbors. Could be something about your neighbors, right? Or the neighborhood or something like that, right? So she liked somebody with a little belly, somebody with a little, a little more weight on them, okay? And not the weight that Terry Crews has, not the weight that Dwayne Johnson has. And again, you need to have these discussions with this individual. So I would probably not fit into Chachina's Arnold's whatever, okay? Because I'm never going to have girth, and I'm always going to be able to see my shoes or my feet on my feet. I'm always going to be able to see my feet because that's just the way that I am. That's just the way that I care for myself. I'm never going to not be able to look down and see my feet. I'm never going to ever. So, again, but be honest about those things, okay? So, don't start dating someone who enjoys going to the gym 4 and 5 days a week, and then a year into the relationship, 6 months down the road, you're like, why do you go to the gym so much? No, 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 no. Okay? You should have had that damn discussion when you met them and you knew they went to the gym 3, 4, 5 days a week. You knew they were a gym rat. You should have had that discussion at that time. Okay? All right? Some strong words coming through. Okay? Don't fuck around. These are the strong words. Don't fuck around, okay? And fuck with them. Don't drag them along, and don't allow them to drag you along because you weren't completely transparent to them. Lay it all out. Again, you can't have every single discussion that's going to happen in a relationship before it happens. But there are some main things that you need to talk about ahead of time. Again, money, children, intimacy. You need to have these discussions. The health, taking care of yourself. She doesn't need for me. I do Tai Chi. She doesn't have to do Tai Chi. Okay? She doesn't have to. I can go for a walk. Okay? She doesn't have to want to go for walks, but she needs to take care of herself. Okay? Because I will not be with a woman who does not take care of themselves. I will not. Okay? I will not. All right? Health reasons are a different story. Health reasons are a different story. But how many reasons are there to be obese? Health reasons are a different story, or health issues. But how many reasons are there? Good reasons, not excuses, good reasons to be obese. There aren't many. There aren't many. So, yeah. All right. So, have those discussions. Don't string them along falsely, and don't allow them to string you along. If you like a man with girth, you like a woman with girth, make it known. Okay? Make it known, especially if they are not when you meet them. Don't be like, oh, yeah, he all right, for now. Oh, yeah, she all right for now. And then you get into a committed relationship and then you try to change them. That is the wrong answer. And how many people do that? They get into the relationship and then they try to change the individual. Listen, you knew I rolled a fatty before we got together because I told you I rolled a fatty. So don't come to me talking about, really? Why are you smoking? I told you. So, no surprises or few surprises. All right? So, we have something out here going boom. Okay? Yeah, so many people do that, B. Right? They get into the relationship, they get into the placeholder. That's what that ultimately is. So, they get involved with a placeholder, and then they're like, why you do this? Why you do that? You came over to my house. You saw that I had, I don't know, tequila on the counter. What did you think that tequila was? To water the plants? You know what I mean? And I don't drink tequila. But you get what I'm saying. You came over, I like big dogs, and I do. Like big dogs, working class dogs, Cane Corsos, Borbals. I like big dogs, okay? Rottweilers. I like big dogs, right? You knew I like big dogs, so we get together. Don't be surprised when I start talking about looking at a breeder or adopting a man dog, as I call them. Don't be surprised. I told you from the beginning. I talk about Sadie all of the time. I talk about Brutus all of the time. Don't be surprised. Okay? Because, yeah, if you don't like dogs and you like cats, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's not going to work. Okay? Because I'm not letting go of my love of fur babies, man dogs, okay? So that we can have a meow around the house. Nah, that's not happening. Okay? We can teach them to get along. We can train them to get along. Okay? So that my Cane Corso doesn't eat your cat. Right? But yeah, nah. All right? So we have something going boom, trickery in reverse for the collective energy thus far. Something about writing, okay? Something about your story. This says a screenplay. This says screenplay. Okay, so something about your story, okay? Your story. Someone's name could be Gail and Brian. I'm reminded of Brian's song, okay? The movie, documentary, and relationship between Gail Sayers and Brian Piccolo, okay? Gail Sayers and Brian Piccolo, Brian's song. So there could be something about your journey here, all right? That you are writing, whatever, again, like me, writing a book, okay? This also could be an energy of you needing to start to journal. This is in reverse, so this could be you needing to start to journal. Again, if it resonates, it's for you. We have a King of Swords out here in reverse. All right. So this King of Swords energy out here, you could be a female. This King of Swords energy out here, okay, is a loss of protection, is a loss of protection, okay? A loss of protection. Something going boom. Loss of protection. All right? So, someone out here is losing protection, has no more protection. We have a King of Swords in reverse there. That's what that represents. No longer fighting. They could give up. They could be like, you know what? Woo, I'm tired. You know what I mean? They could be like, woo, I can't beat her. Man, she is way too strong. Woo, I can't beat him. Whoa, man. Ooh, I didn't know I was up against that spiritually. Okay, so someone could be giving up, throwing in the towel. Okay, because they recognize who they are up against. Okay, you and your ancestors and divine source, how well you pay attention, how well you're obedient. Okay. Okay, no worries, Ashley. No worries. They, I like it, Noel. I like it, Noel. Say it again. I like it. They need to. I like that energy. I like that. You know, when we were in school, part of my childhood, the first part of my childhood, I grew up in the projects, hood, ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Manual lawnmowers with the blade on them. No motors. Right? Government cheese. Judy used to send us up to the community center to get government cheese. First part of my childhood, I grew up in that type of poverty. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And when we had to fight, I was a fighter. I've always been a fighter. As a kid, I didn't know and understand, obviously, that it was a spiritual energy that I am. As a fighter, a spiritual warrior, I didn't understand that. So if someone said something to me and I didn't like it, I wasn't a debater. What you say about my mama? I would not. First of all, people saying things about my mama never was offensive to me for some reason. Okay, your mama so fat, your mama so ugly, your mama. Those things never bothered me. Okay, if they messed with my brother or sister, those that I thought was my brother and sister, that would get me going. Okay, if they did something to me directly, that would get me going. Okay. So I remember, and this energy reminds me, Noel's energy reminds me of that, right? Reminds me of that. And I remember growing up as a kid in the project, you have a fight with somebody, right? And you'd be like, right, what you gonna do? And you would jump at them, right? What you gonna do? And that's what that energy reminds me of. You need to, you know what I'm saying? You need to. So yeah, that energy, okay? uh, yeah, whoever that energy is, okay? Bye, wish you well on your journey. Yeah, again, confirmation, good luck, okay? And good luck is French for fuck you for me. So I don't say good luck for good energy, okay? Good luck is French for fuck you. So good luck. Like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Good luck, all right? Divine source, all right? So what else do we have out here? So we have a father energy out here. Emperor. I flipped the card over. Emperor. 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 Did this come out in? Oh, it came out in reverse. Okay. So could be a mother. some type of authoritative figure, a guardian, parent, mother, could be a grandmother, could be a grandfather, in the reverse. In the reverse, let me go ahead and take a stack here. This is part of the stack, okay? Go ahead and just take a couple cards off here and see what it says. It says engagement. I just picked up some. Engagement and Gen X, okay? Engagement and Gen X is what it's split on, okay? Engagement and Gen X. So, something about engagement. This could be a dinner engagement, okay? This could be a social engagement, an engagement, okay? You could be engaging, okay? That's a siren. That's a siren. Yeah, a couple of people have borrowed that over the time decree. So feel free. Yeah, feel free. All right. And I hope you do feel free. All right. So we have an emperor out here in reverse. An emperor out here in reverse, collective. Taking what resonates, divine source after the emperor. What else? We have something exploding. Okay. Someone could be in the military. That could speak to the war in Iran. Okay. That President Trump instigated. Okay. Someone's name could be Donald in your energy. Or there's something about you getting a Trump card. Okay. Okay. Oh, working on new Gen AI. Confirmation decree. Take a look. So this engagement energy right here, here's a confirmation tarot card right here with this Four of Wands, okay? Once the truth is exposed, once the truth is known, once the truth is public, whatever this happens to be, whatever this Page of Cups energy is out here, once this is known, confirmation, once this is known, it's going to be party time, okay? And it's going to be time for you to leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf and just enjoy yourself, okay? And let the magic and the music get to you, because life ain't so bad at all, right? So, whatever this energy is, whatever's coming into you, okay? Whoever's about to approach you, however they choose to approach you, okay? I think that was a horn honk. Divine source, here we go. Okay, so we have some celebration coming in, some rejoicing coming in. Again, happy birthday to the divine being that I know was born on 3/21, who's a part of this collective. What's up, Divine Design? What's up, Sunshine? Good to see you in the energy. Okay, good to see you in the energy. Okay. Caterpillar to the butterfly, baby. Caterpillar to the butterfly. Okay? Caterpillar to the butterfly. Someone in this energy mentioned they left the ex. It's officially over. Okay? And now they are considering relocation. So, caterpillar to the butterfly. Finally cutting off what no longer serves you because they tried to keep you in one of these or as one of these. Tried to keep you as one of these. Okay? One of the energy beings on this planet, Tim Tebow, a first name, last name, same initial could be significant. He is a major advocate for the stopping of child trafficking, okay? And that's someone that I support energetically, okay? That's someone that I support in their journey to bring that to a stop, okay? Timothy Tebow. or Florida significant. Okay? So divine source, we have a celebration. You, your ancestors, you, your children. Again, happy birthday, 321 birthday to that divine being who's a part of this collective. All right? Divine source, anything else in this stack of tarot. Okay? Anything else? Absolutely, absolutely divine design, because it is a divine design. Okay? The others just choose to ignore it. Okay, so we're done with this stack of tarot combinations and messages. All right? It is a divine design. Others just choose to ignore it. Okay? What else do we have? All right? Getting karma chameleon energy. Okay? Karma chameleon and the right ear is buzzing. That's why I paused for a moment. Karma chameleon energy. Okay? Someone could be changing their tune now. Someone could be changing their tune. Again, oh man, we tried this, that didn't work. We tried that didn't work. We tried to get him in a car accident, that didn't work. We tried to drug him, that didn't work. We actually infected them, that didn't work. We tried to poison, that didn't work. We tried to get them fired, that didn't work. That didn't work. Okay? Someone could be changing their tune now. Okay? All right? And even if you did get fired, okay? Even if you did have a car accident, you're still here. Okay? You're still here. Okay? I'm still standing better than I ever did. Feeling like a true survivor. Looking like a true survivor. Feeling like a little kid. Okay? I'm still standing after all this time. Picking up the pieces of my life without them on my mind. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. I'm still standing. Okay? Okay? Confirmation angel. Yeah, they did. Okay? But here you go. Here you go. About to get some type of investment, some type of assistance. See? They're assisting. See that ancestor? See divine source, divine force, assisting, handing you something, handing you a pentacle, handing you resources. Here it comes. Okay? Here it comes. Okay? Here it comes. Yeah, tonight. Yeah. Someone's name could be Gloria, Gloria, okay? Gloria and Estefan, okay? Also, I was getting Ice Cube, Here We Come, okay? I am the one that you heard about, read about. I am the one that had to take the ghetto route. I am the one coming straight from the cage who let him out. Crazy nigga thought he was gone, but we ain't gone. Even King Kong took his black monkey ass home. When I hit the stage, watch him scatter like roaches. Don't be fake, cause we know what a hoe is. Handle my business, no plans, cause I'm focused. You the definition of what a fucking joke is. Shout out O'Shea Jackson, baby. Shout out O'Shea Jackson, baby. Shout out O'Shea Jackson, baby. All right? I love me some Ice Cube, boy. I love me some Ice Cube. Here we come, here we come. Okay? Yeah. I love me some Ice Cube. All right? Yeah. Confirmation decree. Okay? Every mark. Every mark. You see that scar? All right? Kidney right there. Third kidney right there. Okay? Every mark. Every mark. Yeah. Every mark is a confirmation. Boom. You made it. Every mark, every scar. Boom. Okay? This scar right here, where the catheter went into the chest, where the catheter went into the chest for 4.5 years. Yeah, a catheter into the chest, directly into the heart artery for 4.5 years. Every scar, 777, took that motherfucker out, and I'll never have another one. Right there, baby. The scars, the scars, the scars. Yeah, the scars. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Right? I love it, Decree. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, I might need to borrow that one. Scars are stars. I might need to borrow that one. Okay? Yep. Confirmation, angel. Return to sender, boomerang. Someone's name could be Eddie, Murphy, Eddie, Edward, Edwin, Murphy. Okay? Holly, and ooh, was that a horn honk on Holly? Holly and Barry. We might need to look up Holly Berry's information for synchronicity, see what day she was born. Okay? All right? Yeah, Divine, I definitely like that. Scars are stars. Yeah. Divine said, holy yes, I have something to say about that and the reason why people focus on hell so much. Let's look up Holly Berry's information. Okay? Holly yes, holy yes. Right? Let's look up Holly Berry's information. Holly, Haley, and Berry. Berry Gordy. Okay? Okay? Holly Berry. Okay? 8/14/66. 8/14/66. August 14th, 1966. Born Maria Holly Berry. So not Holly Berry. She was born Maria Holly Berry. So she uses her middle name for distinction in Hollywood. She is currently 59, born in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay? Spouses. Listen to the names for resonation. David Justice, Eric Benet. Okay? Eric Benet has a wonderful voice. Oh, man. Eric Benet. Eric Benet, boy. Oh, man. And his falsetto, talking about the stylistics, and Betcha by Golly Wow, that song. Eric Benet. I might need to go listen to some Eric Benet when we get done here. All right. Oliver Martinez. Oliver Martinez. Okay. Partners John Ronan, Gabriel Aubrey, okay, and Van Hunt. Okay. She is presently engaged. Engagement came out here in Gen X. Engagement, Holly Berry, presently engaged. Presently engaged. Okay? Holly Berry. 8/14/66. August 14th, 1966. Okay? So, all right. Yeah, Eric has a voice, boy. Eric can sing. That girl can sing. That boy can sing. Eric can sing. Yeah, likewise. Okay, likewise for them, for their union. Someone says, I hope they have a long and happy union. Yeah, okay. So we have out here 2 of Wands energy, 9 of Cups energy, and both are in the upright. Again, someone changing their perspective, someone changing their perspective on the situation. Okay, this could be law enforcement. We do not have any King or Queen of Wands energy out here, but this could be law enforcement. Okay, they're looking into you because of smear campaigns or lies or whatever else, and they're not, ooh, wait a minute. No, this is not who they said they were. They have a new perspective. This could be those who attacked you, those who came after you. This is changing for someone, and this could be you, your outlook. So you see your scars, right? From your dialysis, from your transplant, spiritually or physically, you see your scars as stars. Thank you, divine design. You see your scars as stars. Okay? This could be your perspective that is currently changing. We have 22 in the room and 25 likes, currently 9:41 in the morning here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Okay? And I was speaking to in the last live, I was talking to the energy of getting back out there. So here we go with the energy of getting back out there. Opportunities, social events. This doesn't have to be strictly dating again. This could be back on the scene, crispy and clean. Whoa, where is that? That's from way back on the scene, crispy and clean. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You should get with this because this is where it's at. This is where it's at. Okay? So strut on in there to that social event collective. Okay? Pimp on in there. Okay? Strut on in there. Okay? With your badass. Walk on in there. Okay? Walk on in there. Not prideful in the wrong way, but walk on in there. Just as big, bright, and beautiful, butterfly-ish, unicornish as you can be. Walk on in there. Because they can get with this or they can get with that. They can get with this or they can get with that. They should get with this because you is where it's at. You are where the divine light resonates. You are where the divine aura shines through. You. It's you. It's you. Someone needs to put that in the comments. It's me. It's me. Okay? Yes, Noel, it's me. Okay? This is where it's at. You want a divine masculine? This is where it's at. You want a divine feminine? This is where it's at. You want someone who's spiritually protected? This is where it's at. You want someone who's divinely wise? This is where it's at. Someone who's transparent, someone who offers unconditional love? This is where it's at. Confirmation horn honk. This is where it's at. It's me. It's me. What's up, Christine? What's up, Christine? It's me. So they can get with that or they can get with this. But this is where it's at. Okay? They can deal with this or they can deal with that. Yeah. That's right. That's right. I like the energy, all right? I like the energy and getting back out there, all right? So again, strut on in there. Do your walk, whatever your walk happens to, whatever your strut happens to be. Do your walk. Walk on in there, okay? Walk on in there, okay? We have Eight of Pentacles energy out here, okay? It fell on the chair. I don't know if it was in the upright or reverse. That's right. That's right. So we have Eight of Pentacles energy out here. All right. I'm going to take it in the upright. Okay. So hard at work. Again, the last tarot card to come out. Resources, investment of some sort. Okay. This could be more wisdom. Okay. Doesn't have to be money. We know money is needed in the 3D. Right. So something being handed to you by divine source, by divine design, something being handed to you by divine design. We got divine design in the collective, okay? we got divine design in the collective. So, divine design offer. Okay? Okay? It's like a tailored suit. It's like a tailored dress. Angel, if they deal with this, they can't deal with that. If they deal with this, they can't deal with that. Okay? They cannot. Okay? They cannot. So, yeah. All right? Yep. Back to the being your greatest cheerleader. Okay? Back to being your greatest cheerleader. Back to being your greatest cheerleader. We were talking about that earlier. All right? Okay, so waiting on something, both of these cards, the Hangman and the Six of Wands energy, okay? You still having courage, you still being encouraged, good news, lovely, wonderful, what have you. Again, that whole energy with Michael Jackson, life ain't so bad at all. When you live your life off the wall. So, this could take courage. Yeah, it already has, all right? But this step, this offer, okay? This communication I'm hearing, this communication could take courage on their part, courage on your part, whoever this energy is. You could be a Gen Xer, they could be a Gen Xer, okay? And I say that because when we pull the cards, okay? I grab a stack again off the tower. Here we go. So don't forget to do it, okay? Don't forget to do it. And again, we're talking about having discussions, Christine and others who have just recently come into the room. We're having, at the beginning, we're having a discussion about talking about it before it happens. So talk about it before it happens, okay? How you like it, how you give it, whatever that is, have those discussions before it happens. You don't want to merge your money together and then come to find out that they are a careless spender. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to join forces with them and then come to find out, okay, that they leave their dirty drawers all over the house. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So, if possible, don't just invite them over to your place if it should get to that point. You check out their place. Okay? Again, have those conversations before it happens. Before it happens. Okay? So again, Hanged Man energy out here is sideways. So is the Six of Wands energy. Okay? But courage for the journey, patience for the journey. Okay? For many of us, we've been on this journey, even consciously, spiritually, for many, many years. Many years at this point in time. Divine Source doesn't care about earthly time. Okay? Divine Source doesn't care about earthly time. Okay? Divine Source just cares about the outcome and the end result. Okay? Your choices. That's what Divine Source cares about. They're not concerned about, oh, you've been celibate for a year. I feel bad. Divine Source doesn't care about that. Okay? And neither do your ancestors. They're not, oh, you've been celibate for 5 years. Oh, poor baby. They don't care about that. They don't care. They don't. Okay? All they care about is whether or not you're going to remain celibate and continue to protect yourself for however long it takes. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. It's on top of the stack. That's all they care about. Okay? Are you going to continue to do the work? Okay. Divine Source, what else we got? I'm liking the energy. I like how it's flowing. Okay, something not working anymore. We got an atomic boom out here. All right. with this card out here. And no more trickery. Okay, no more trickery. All right. It's not working. Seven of Swords in reverse. Something about a journal or writing. You need to do that if you do not. Even if it's only your dreams or thoughts. That is a way of releasing. That is a way of releasing. When I was a part of the religious organization in Central Florida, there was a minister that came and he said something that was very interesting. Okay? He said, absolutely decree, absolutely Sean. He said, nothing happens until the pen is poised above the paper. He said this visiting minister of this at this religious organization. He said, nothing happens until the pen is poised above the paper. Okay? So, get the pen poised above the paper. Okay. Also, I'm thinking that could be a microphone. Okay. So speaking, declaring, decreeing. We got decree in the room. Decreeing, declaring. We got Trinity in the room. Trinity. All of these names. All of these messages. By divine design, you are the Trinity. You are the Trinity. You are the Trinity. Okay? Yeah. All right? So decree it, and declare it. Okay? All right? Never be afraid to speak the truth. And we got something coming into balance with the Two of Cups. Okay? Confirmation, Sean, since 13. I was a tax accountant for 13 years. 13, you could be born on the 13th of the year. Okay? That is death and rebirth energy. 13, death, change it around. 31, just coming out of the Mercury retrograde. New energy, new light, springing forth. Spring, northern hemisphere. Two of Wands being brought into, or Two of Pentacles. I said Two of Wands. Two of Pentacles out here. We do have the Two of Wands. Okay? So, there we go. Balance. Balance. You are balanced. Okay? Things are being brought into balance for you, with you. I shouldn't say for you, with you. Okay? Nothing can be brought into balance if you're out of balance. Remember that. Okay? Nothing can be brought into balance if you're out of balance. So, occupation, employment, money, love, it can only be brought into balance when you are in position to receive it. When you are in position to receive it. Most everything that we want, most everything that we desire, our hopes, our dreams, those things in the esoteric, they're just sitting there waiting for us. Do you know, Divine Source is talking to me now, do you know how many beings have been here and forfeited their journey? Do you know? What happens to those dreams? Just like witchcraft, it has to go somewhere. So what happens to the one? I spoke about Michael Jackson, okay, in that song, right? The Stylistics, right? I spoke about them, that song, right? What happens to the beings here when their hopes and dreams aren't fulfilled? It's just like witchcraft. It doesn't just dissipate. It has to go somewhere. So when you have opportunity, screenplay, okay? So Russell Simmons, okay? What happens? Steven Spielberg, John Lucas, what happens? Okay? What happens to those dreams? They still have to be fulfilled. The stories still have to be written. The movies still have to be produced. The truth still has to be documented. So, what happens to those things? Someone can pick those things up, even if they don't know they got them from that individual or the individual who left those things unfulfilled in the esoteric. Just like witchcraft, it has to go somewhere. So if divine source says somebody is coming along in this journey and they are going to create vehicles that do not require gasoline, someone starts the project, but their journey ends at the age of 87. 1987 could be significant, or 1978. Their journey ended at the age of 87, but they left the technology like Nikola Tesla. They left the diagrams, the blueprints. Somebody needs to come along and pick that up. If that's you, that's what happens. That's what happens. So, all right. All right, we have sideways 10 of cups energy out here. Again, something's in the works. Something's in the works I'm getting. Okay, something's in the works. Not quite there yet. Almost. Not quite there. Almost. Not quite there. We are on different timelines. So, again, yep, copyrights, whatever that is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we have Two of Cups, Knight of Pentacles in the upright, and the Page of Swords in the upright. That's all good. That's all good. It's all good, collective. Okay? It's all good. Okay? Again, scars into. Okay? Did you hear what I said? I had to listen to myself again. I said, physical scars, spiritual stars. All right. Not sure what that glitch was. Not sure what that glitch was. All right. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender, times 10,000 with vengeance and a sword, divine source. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender, times 10,000 with vengeance and a sword. Okay. Hello, Nora. Thank you so much for tuning in. We just had some sort of glitch that just happened with the live. Okay. Some sort of glitch. Okay. Some sort of glitch that just happened. Don't know what that was about. It's okay. Didn't stop anything. Okay. Didn't stop anything. All right. So, getting ready to close out this collective energy read. Again, ask the question. Whoa. Okay. Again, ask the questions before it happens. Ask the questions before it happens. We have death on the floor and you growing, okay, wherever you're planted. Okay. We have death on the floor and you growing wherever you're planted. Death on the floor and you growing where you're planted, wherever you're planted. You can be prosperous wherever divine source sends you. You can be abundant wherever divine source sends you. Okay? You see how nothing else is growing in this land around this tree? Okay? So, tried to bring death to it, but you still flourish. They tried to bring death to it, but you still flourish. Okay? So, again, that whole Ice Cube song about Here We Come, you are the one that they heard about. You are the one that they read about in the Akashic Records. You are the one that Enoch wrote about. You are the one that Nostradamus predicted. You are the one. You are the one that had to take the ghetto route, the spiritual ghetto route. You are the one. Okay? You are the one. Okay? So, all right, all right, all right. Anything else? I've kept feeling like Divine wants me to pull some more energy here. All right. It is me. That's right. It is me. That's right. That's right. Okay. Because they can get with this or they can get with that. Okay. But they should get with you, collective, because you are where it's at. Are where what's at. Healing. Okay. High vibrational frequencies, you are where it's at. Okay? The truth, you are where it's at. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Prosperity, wisdom. Okay? Yeah, Kobe Bryant recipe. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to the Mamba. We got 2424, the only angel number that came out here. I'm going to read this to us as we close this out. Okay? All right? Don't be jealous, dumbass motherfucker, okay? Because I got my shirt off, okay? Don't be jealous, motherfucker. Go to the fucking gym. Don't be jealous, dumbass. Go to the gym. You don't like the way I look? You don't be on the beach telling somebody to put their shirt on. You didn't tell Gandhi to put his fucking shirt on. You don't tell Sadhguru on their videos to put their shirt on. Get off my channel and go put your own fucking shirt on and go take care of yourself. Okay? All right? So, you go get your sloppy ass off my channel. Okay? You go get your sloppy ass off my channel and go take care of yourself. Okay? Goodbye. All right? Okay? So, that's what we do with that energy. That's what we do with that energy, collective. That's what we do with that energy. All right? So we have the 2424 for good times. You are worthy of affection, leisure, and pleasure. Again, Michael Jackson song, okay? Off the wall. Okay? Because life isn't so bad when you wear your scars as stars and you start to live life off the wall. Okay? And you leave that 9 to 5 up on the shelf. Okay? And you get back out there. If you tell your family and friends how you feel, you will find you're all on the same page and can work together effectively. I don't take this as a physical family. I take this as those who you highly resonate with. Same sheet of music, same song. Okay? Many people are rooting for you. Again, talking about the cheerleader at the beginning of this live, something that came out here that's not in the title confirmation is being our worst critic and our greatest cheerleader. Being our worst critic and our greatest cheerleader. Okay? All right, confirmation by paying it forward. That's a wonderful energy. Okay, by paying it forward. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so you being in this energy, okay, of being your greatest cheerleader. All right, if you spread love, it will find its way back to you multiplied. After everything that I have been through this lifetime in 51 physical years on this planet, how does someone who had their wife taken away from them in 1998 by the man that they thought was their father, how does someone rebound after witchcraft tried to take them out with acute and chronic kidney failure through a rare autoimmune virus that man has no earthly cure for? How does someone bounce back from that? How does someone bounce back from being poisoned and that resulting in shingles? How does someone bounce back from witchcraft, from seizures until the age of 8? How does someone bounce back from all of that and still manage to show up and have unconditional love? Still be open to love, still be welcoming to love, still be unconditionally loving, still giving that energy, still arriving with a smile on his or her face. How are they able to do that? Okay. They've healed themselves. This is how. They've healed themselves. I was talking about in those examples myself. But how are you able to bounce back from what you were able to get through and still offer unconditional love and get back out there energetically? How are you able to show up and still with a wonderful, beautiful, handsome smile on your face? How are you able to do that? Healing, healing, healing. Okay? So spread the good love. Okay? Spread the good love, not the karmic love. Okay? For the good times. For the good times. Okay? For the good times. Okay? For some of you, the good times are about to begin here shortly. For others of you, it's months down the road. Only you know exactly where you are. Only you know if you're doing the spiritual work. You can sit here in the chat all day and tell me, yep, I'm doing this, yep, I'm doing that. Sean was honest and they were like, I know I need to meditate more than 15 minutes a day. Sean, you know, okay? And that's a good student. That's a good student who recognizes, yep, I need to study more. I don't understand this subject. I don't need to study for that subject. But this subject, I need to study for. That's a good student. That's a good student. Okay? Yeah. Is choosing love. Absolutely. And self-love first and foremost. Self-love first and foremost. That's what a lot of the hermit mode journey is about. That's what a lot of the hermit mode is about. It's about learning how to love yourself again. Okay? After you've removed those who no longer love you in the way that they should or never did. A lot of hermit mode time is about learning to love yourself. About learning to love yourself. Okay? And that's a major, major, major part of your spiritual conscious journey is learning to love yourself. So when we have those conversations with those, as we started out in this live, when we have those conversations, don't be afraid to tell someone, you know what, that's just not going to work for me. Okay? You do 420, yep, that's just not going to work for me. What? You go to the gym 4 days a week? You don't go to the gym at all? What? You eat Taco Bell every day? Whatever it happens to be. You know what I'm saying? What? You let your kids talk to you that way? That's just not going to work for me. Okay? Okay? What? Wait, you mean you're not open to this type of intimate adventure? You know? You're not open to that type of intimate adventure? That's not going to work for me. Let them know. Don't wait until you're in the situation. Okay? And all the signs and synchronicities were telling you all along that they're careless with money, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's okay, I'll still give them a try. No. We are past the time of giving multiple chances, collective. Listen to me. We are past the seasons of giving others multiple chances. We are past that. I like to say this isn't baseball. One strike. We are past the time of being ran through, the recycling bin over and over and over and over and over and over. We're beyond that season, collective. Star seeds, healers, truth speakers, empresses, emperors. We're beyond that. We're beyond that at this time in this 3D. Okay? So, don't ignore the signs and the synchronicities. Do not stop your spiritual work just because he or she shows up. They're the reason because of your spiritual work that they, or your spiritual work is the reason why they did show up. Okay? Often, people get into beings get into relationships, they let themselves go. So when I met you, you were all fine, you had it going on, you were taking care of yourself, you were doing Pilates, you were eating well. What happened? You hear it in movies and you see it in sitcoms. Well, I got her now, so now I can just let myself go to shit. No. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Okay? Oh, well, I got him now. Now I can just let myself go to shit. You know what I'm saying? Wrong answer. Okay? I've said for a long time, and I've even said this to those that I've been in relationships with, in intimate relationships with. I told them, you know what part of my goal is? Is to be as hot, whatever that definition of hot is. Be as sexy, whatever that definition is. Be as attractive, and more so, at 80 than I was at 40, at 30. Why? Because I'm never going to stop working on myself. Never going to stop working on myself. All right? So I'll be hotter at 80. I'll still be attractive, still looking good when I'm 80. Okay? That's just me. Somebody talked about Kobe something, right? That's just my energy. That's just how I am. Okay? That's just being honest. That's just how I am. Okay? And then it'll be even in better ways. Why? Because wisdom will come along in the next 29 years. Okay? So, yeah. All right? Sean said, don't give up on self. In my D Rose voice. Right. Okay. Let me go ahead and block someone, okay, on this channel who's talking about Bitcoin. That is extremely insignificant. All right. So collective, again, if you would like to have a private conversation with me in which we do pull energy, we have a conversation about you, your journey. You get to ask me questions perhaps that you do not want to ask here on live in public, right? Please feel free to take a look at the description section of this live video. That information is already there. All of the services that I currently provide, already there. Reiki healing, chakra blockage, healings and removals, as well as meditation sessions. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in, collective. One more time check. It is 10:18, 118, collective, here on Sunday morning. As a reminder, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for those of you who are still on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, Eastern Standard Time, we will be continuing our journey through the Aquarian Gospel of Yeshua. That is where we are learning about their journey from the age of 12 to 30 that is not in your religious book, the Bible. Okay, that book was released, or that text was released in 19... Sean, reach. We can do one at a time, Sean. Reach out to me. All right. That book was released in 1908. Okay. So we will be going into that at approximately 11 hours. 11 hours. We will be going live with the Aquarian Gospel of Yeshua for our Sunday service. Thank you so much, collective. Okay. Oh, I appreciate the honesty always, Sean. You've been honest since the beginning. Okay. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. My name is Nehru. I am an extraterrestrial earth angel, a light worker and Gaia beacon. I was birthed on the 333rd day of the year this lifetime. I am an Egyptian shamanic bloodline. Thank you so much as always for tuning in, and be encouraged.